Okay, kids, final video here. Today's goal is to show you how to make nice charts in Excel. I'm going to do two charts with you. First one is going to have only my predictions in it, so one set of numbers. And then the second one is going to have both the predictions and results combined together in one graph. And as far as Excel is concerned, that's referred to as clustered. That's their vocab term here. So what I'm going to do first is I've got the same document open as in the last video. I've got my two questions of day-to-day shoe and ranking from favorite to least favorite by brand. And I'm going to guide you through a chart on both of these two. So let's begin our first one here with our predictions only. So I'm going to do a single chart here. When you're creating a chart here, really important you select both the label that you want at the top with your data because Excel can process together that flip-flops is matched up with the 20% and Crocs with the 10%, etc. So select all of that and then come over to your Insert tab. And in this charts category here, there's a whole bunch of them. And you can pick and choose and come up with ones that make sense for what it is you're trying to do, I should say. I'm going to show you my first chart here is going to be a line chart. So I'm going to go to the line category here. And the one that I'm going to use is the line with markers, which is this first one out of the second row. And one of the things that is not great about Excel Online. The one on the full computer desktop version is a little better. Sometimes Excel doesn't figure out if it's the up-down type of data or the left-to-right type of data. So if your chart, when it comes up, you kind of get 4 dots instead of a line here, on your toolbar, go to Switch Row and Column. And notice how that actually makes a lot more sense for this one here. So this now allows us to see that running shoes are way more popular in my predictions compared to the others. And I'm just going to resize this and maneuver it around a little bit here so that it fits in this area. And now I'm going to show you how to change some of the options here. So charts should always have a title. So let's go to Chart Title, and we can go this one here. I'm going to have it resize my chart. So I'm going to go with Above Chart. And what that's going to do is it's going to add the title just right inside of this chart box here. And it's going to ask me for a title. So I'm going to say this is my predicted favorite day to day shoe type. Click OK. Notice how that resizes and keeps the text inside of the chart box. I'm going to try and make this a little bigger so it fits on one line. And if you need to adjust the size of a column here to shove that over and make a little bit of room, that's just fine. Go ahead and do that. Now, in this one here, because I've only got one set of data here, it's showing up as Series 1. That's not a particularly useful piece of information here, so I'm going to turn that one off. In our second chart, that part of the legend is going to be more useful. So for this one, I'm going to turn off the legend, but I am going to add some labels down at the very bottom here to say that that is a different type of shoe. So on my axis titles, I'm going to go to a primary horizontal. Notice how these icons in blue here point out the part that it's referring to. So your horizontal axis is at the bottom of the chart. The vertical would be over on the left side. And I'm going to throw a title in here. It's going to ask me which one do you want, and I'm going to go type of shoe. There we go. And another thing that's kind of nice from time to time, depending on the type of chart, is to be able to see the exact numbers right inside of the chart. So with the data labels button here, it gives you options for centered, left, right, above, and below. I'm okay with you using any of these different ones here. pick the one that makes it easiest to read. So let's just try center because that's at the top of the list. That's a little hard to read, so let's try something else. Left side. That's pretty good. The percent on the 10 here is getting just a little bit chopped, but it's not bad. Let's try and see if we can find something better. So right side. That one's pretty good too. Above. I don't like this one as much because it's going right through the 1 and the percent. And below, I don't like that it's chopping off the 60. So for my set of numbers here, left and right are kind of my two best. And if you handed in either a left or a right that's nice and easy to read, that would be just fine for me. We don't need to put a label on the left side here because it's already got the percents on there, so that's totally fine. And that's a pretty nice little chart. The next one that I want to do with you is where we get two sets of data in one chart. And I'd like to see you do this at least once in your assignment. So I'm going to use my rank the shoe brands from favorite to least favorite example. And one thing that you can't do with Excel Online at this point is you can't select data when it's in separate places. So I can't select my percentages from here and my labels from here and my predictions from there. I need to kind of collect them together. So I'm going to show you how to make just a teeny little table that grabs all of those pieces of information together. And the way that we're going to do this is with the most simple formula in Excel, which is just the equals key, and then I'm going to click on Adidas. And what it's basically going to do is it's going to say, hey, whatever's in this box right here with Adidas, just display that. So my Adidas is at the top. I'm going to fill in my predictions and results. And what I want for my predictions is whatever is over here underneath Adidas. Now I'm going to push enter. Notice how it grabs the 10%. And now let's equals and grab the Adidas out of my percentages here as well. Remember how I showed you before Excel has the filling capability. So if I select all three of these and now grab with my mouse and fill across, what I'm basically telling Excel is I don't want one column of these, I want all 5. And so notice how it grabs the 40% from the Nike and the 20% from Nike. And now here's my 30%, and there's my 20%, and here's my 10, and here's my 16, and here's my 10, and here's my 20. Now the thing that's really great about these, instead of copying pasting, is if this set of percentages in the results table ever changes, the results in my little collector table are also going to automatically update. So let's say I notice I had a typo, or I do another survey result, or I get some more data, and I get a new person that really loves ASICs. I'm going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And notice how, as I was entering these numbers, both the percentages at the bottom and in my results part of this are automatically updating. And we can do a little bit of formatting here. So this is my collector table, and I'm just going to add some nice formatting to this. So turn on some borders, and I'm going to center the top. And let's go with right aligned here because that's kind of matching up. And go ahead and use a color. Let's not use orange or green because we've already used that on this sheet. I think I'm going to go with the gold here and maybe bold. Okay, so that's a nice little collector table here. Now I've got all of my information together. I've got both of my categories that I want to join together. And now I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to insert a column chart here. So in Excel, column means up and down, and bar means left to right. So in math class, we often say column chart, bar chart. We use them interchangeably. In Excel vocabulary, a column chart is up and down. And the one that I'm going to use here is the clustered column. And this compares values across categories, which is exactly what we want. So we're categorizing together the 2 Adidas and the 2 Nike and the 2 Under Armour and the 2 Reebok and the 2 Asics. Now, when I first insert it here, it has clustered together my predictions, and it's clustered together my results, and then broken it down by brand underneath. Let's switch the row and column, and notice how now it groups together the 2 Adidas numbers, etc. Okay? And my predictions came up with one color in the legend, and the results came up with a different color in the legend. And that looks pretty nice. So in this one, I'm going to leave the legend on because it's showing me something useful. Let's add a chart title. Let's put in here predictions versus results for ranked shoe brands. And I want to show you how to use your grid lines in this one as well. So the grid lines here, by default, this one came up with its just the major grid lines on. So notice how the 30% has a line across here. I'm going to turn on the major and minor. And what's going to really help us with that is it's going to help us with these ones that are like in between 15 and 20 here. So let's turn that on. And notice how you get these faint gray, light gray lines in there. And these are really nice for separating out categories. Now go ahead and resize this one, probably pretty big because it's got both. You can also play with your data labels here. These are often useful. On a bar chart, the inside end is kind of nice because it's going to show the number right at the top of the bars. So let's try turning that on. And actually, for the one that I pointed you out here between 15 and 20, and I added the grid lines here, the 18.7 is actually a really nice piece of information here. And there you have it. Now we've showed you how to make nice charts in Excel.